Every new author has a story to claim. Sit back, listen to conversation between Terry Lynn and new authors on the rise, and let the journey begin.
Hello, friends. Welcome to my podcast, Conversations Between Terry Lynn and New Authors. On this episode, I'm talking with Madi Morton, who writes books for everyone of all ages. Welcome, Madi.
Thanks for having me.
You are welcome, Madi. Please tell us about your writing and your first book.
Yeah, of course. So my first book is called The Garden Vault, and the style of writing choice for that is poetry, where it's a collection of poems, and it's about self-discovery, the faith to continue to go on, a little bit about my beliefs, since I am a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and also more of where I've grown as a person as time has went on, and how these challenges have shaped me for the better.
That sounds beautiful and deeply moving, a powerful collection that offers hope, faith, and encouragement for anyone walking through hard seasons.
Thank you. Yeah. That's what I want it there to be, is so if anyone is struggling or they need to lean on a testimony, at least a little bit, they can lean on mine.
I'm sure they will be blessed by your testimony and your books. What inspired you to write children's books?
Something that I really wanted to with children's books is I really have loved being with children a lot. And with this particular poem, I would say it's for higher ages. So I would say like 8 and up can read it, or even like 12 and up can read it. But for a lot of the future children's books I hope to do for younger ages, I don't know. I just have this like driven of wanting to help kids out and simplify things. And I want my messages in a way to help them remember that when they go through hard times, whether it be bullying or other type of challenge, to know that they're not alone in that, and maybe someone has gone through the similar things as them, that they know that they're not alone in any of it.
That's a great reason to write children's books, to help them feel not alone.
Thank you.
What was it like seeing your story come to life through illustrations?
It was really fun to see a lot of those poems come to life, especially with like my top 5 poems that I asked my illustrator to do. It not only brought the poem to life, but it made it feel even more powerful because you could visualize certain aspects of the poem in illustrations. Where there's one of my favorites, I loved how she illustrated it, is At the Door poem, where it's about what would we do as Christians or faithful believers of Jesus Christ if he was staying at our door right now. What would that look like? And she did a wonderful artist interpretation of that. But she not only did the Savior, she did the other person on the other side too, waiting to knock on the door. And I suggested that as one of the artist ideas. And I really loved how she put that together. And when she sent it to me, she sent it as the person at the door first, and then Christ at the door. And I love that transition. And I even kept it in her order in the book because I love the symbolism on how we're at the door and we're waiting to let him open. And it's just one of my favorite things I got to see to life. And it really hit like home run and just more powerful because of those illustrations. It made it so much more impactful. And you could really tell that the poem has a lot of heart to it.
I love the imagery of Jesus knocking at the door. I will have to get that book of yours to see that illustration, and I love poems and Christian books.
Thanks.
What challenges have you faced as a new author, especially when it comes to publishing or marketing your book?
I think part of the challenges is how often you're going to post on social media. You need to take time to make these advertisements, to make it stand out, but you also don't want to be like too persistent that you sound a bit redundant in a sense. So you have to find the balance on when it's okay to launch it, and you need to come up with some creative launch ideas. So a lot of authors, they usually do a little bit of they're talking about the book in a video, or they're always doing like these little fun ways to advertise it. And the best way to really market it well is word of mouth. If one person knows, a whole bunch of other people will know, because it usually just takes that one person to share what they feel, and then it leads to so much more of a better effort. And in just the 1 month time period, my book has already like done decently well on Amazon for just self advertisements and having Facebook and social media posts about it. But the most majority of why it's been great so far is because people that I know talk about it with their friends. And I feel like that's the best strategy, is just word of mouth. Just talk about it open, and you won't know until they hear about it, really.
It's beautiful how word of mouth and genuine connection helped carry your message forward and make a real difference.
For sure. Yeah, I'm so grateful for like all the help I've had so far from just like people I know doing it word of mouth. It's really made a huge difference for me.
What was your favorite book as a child, and do you think it influenced your writing style today?
I would say my favorite book changed a lot, but one of my most favorites was Nancy Drew. I really liked reading that as a kid, and especially like the mystery aspect of it. I also really enjoyed Heartland. And I would say both of those books, I loved the story element to it. And it just helped me realize too that I have stories to share. I just share them in a unique way that might not be everyone's style. It's why I write it more in a poetry format, because that's what I'm comfortable with. And obviously, of course, Dr. Seuss, which he's king of poems in some ways, because he does all these word rhymes and not only teaches a kid how to read well and learn about the arithmetics, but it also helps them to understand what the poems mean at a younger age. And I think that's what has started my love for poetry, was Dr. Seuss. And now as I've gotten older, I love Mary Oliver and Shel Silverstein. That I would say those have really helped me come to where I am today as a writer, because I've learned to realize I have the gifts, because it just takes learning from another to help you craft your own.
That's a wonderful mix of influences. Those stories spark imagination, and it's beautiful how poets like Mary Oliver and Shel Silverstein helped shape your unique voice.
Yeah, they've definitely been some of the best poems I've loved to read. That it's really played a huge difference for me on trying out new styles in poetry even. That's one of the things Mary Oliver talks about, is you just got to experiment.
Is there a scene or character in your book that's especially meaningful to you?
I would say, as far as like poetic scenes go, I really love that At the Door poem a lot. One, because it's taken me a lot longer to write than my other poems, but two, it's just the scene, like a lot throughout it. It's just the wondering, am I going to let him in? And the final twist at the end of they do let the savior in. I think it's very powerful in that way. My favorite scene from that would have to be Jesus standing at the door. And then another one of my favorite scenes from the book of poems that I really like is about the silent agreement. And that one I really enjoy, of how the hiker comes in contact with the rattlesnake. And the way the illustrator like sketched that out is honestly so amazing, on how that comes to life, of the hiker's scare that, oh no, there's a rattlesnake here. And honestly, I've really enjoyed that, because I think oftentimes the rattlesnake represents our fears, and we can't let fear stop us from going forward. And that's why I like that particular scene, is it's a symbol of you just gotta keep going your own way, let the other thing go its different way. And there might be times where we might have to face our fears, but other times we can just keep going and not let fear stop us. And I think that's what it does, is you got to keep going when things might be so scary. I mean, being an adult might feel so scary when you like are first 18 and it's like, oh, taxes, all these things I have to do that I didn't do as a kid. Like, what? And so I think that's why I love it so much, is you got to face your fears, and you can't let fear stop you or hold you back from keeping on going.
I love how those scenes use powerful imagery, Jesus at the door and the rattlesnake on the path, to remind us that fear is real, but it doesn't have to stop us from moving forward.
Thank you. Yeah, I would say it definitely does, as I've been raised in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and came to have my own testimony of it, that I've really come to know that Jesus Christ is my friend and my brother that I can go to whenever I need anything.
What do you think makes a children's book truly memorable?
I think a lot of it has to be character development. Even with younger children's books, you need your characters like well balanced out to where they can do even simple things that makes the character memorable. Like maybe they have their hair, it's so messy that it looks like a lion's mane. Something like that is just like the starting point that we see. Or maybe there's a little children's book and they're all covered in mud. Whatever the visual is for imagery, you need to have these different appearances to make the character stand out. And another part of it too that's really important, especially in children's books, and I would say any type of fiction writing, you need a well devoted plot. Even if it's a small plot point, you need a good plot structure. And the way my teacher, Josh Allen, taught it, you need to do it by degrees. So you start with your zero and it goes up every 20 degrees until you hit the final point that's the middle, and then go up even higher. And then that's the falling action, whatever. You have to structure it like that in order to make your plot well balanced. And even after being done with college as a BYU Idaho graduate, I still put those tips he gave me when I was in his class of going by the degree, because you have to. In order to make the plot work, you have to have a structure, even if it's just a degree structure or something to help you get there. It needs to be good, or the story is not going to go anywhere, because you need to go off of the character's emotional on what's going to hit them emotionally to bring that change. And if there's no change, then what's the point of the story, in my opinion? Like, what's the point if the character doesn't grow? It's too flat to enjoy.
I love how you highlight that even in children's books, memorable character details and a well structured plot that leads to real emotional change are what make a story meaningful and enjoyable.
Sure. Yeah.
Do you have any advice for other aspiring authors who are just starting out, especially in children's literature?
I would say just right, like just do it, because the only way you're gonna really make the piece better is you have to have a messy first draft. That's part of the writing experience. I'm sorry, but if you think your first draft is perfect, have your editor read it 5 more times and then give you feedback, because it's not going to be perfect the first try. It is supposed to be messy and ugly because that's going to be how you grow. And if you don't allow that change, it's not going to go well. It's not going to improve. And honestly, it's why you need to be careful on who you have for the editor. I would say too, is they can see things that you can't as the author, and you need to have an open heart on what they tell you, because they'll give advice and how it works. And remember, it's not you as the author that's terrible. It's this is just what's going on in the manuscript, and here's how to make the piece better. And they will say it like that, is it's not you, it's the manuscript. Here's how to make your manuscript better. And I think we just need to be like more like, I understand we have to be careful on people's feelings. I would say too, it's okay to have a tight schedule, because honestly, that's the best way to write, is have your schedule tight. Set aside 30 minutes just to write a page, at least a minimum page if needed, or do a word count on whatever helps you get to write. Take that time to write. And when I took Josh Allen's class, and he's a children's horror, middle grade horror author, and one thing that he would always say is write 3 pages a day. And we would do like these 3 pages of day journals. And even if it was just like, I got home, I slept on ice, that's all. Like, at least 2 sentences is better than nothing. So just take the time to do it, and you'll see yourself grow the more time you put in for it.
That's great advice. Consistency really is key. Making time to write every day and surrounding yourself with people who support your process can make all the difference.
For sure. Because the world needs more stories, and take your chance to tell a story to all of us that's new, it's creative, where you can retell a story in a different way. Like, there's so many parts of storytelling that you could play around with, that's part of the fun, is experiment.
What exciting projects or books are you working on next?
Yeah, so I'm going to work on a mystery book, and that is still in the progress so far for that mystery book in particular. I've already been working on it for 3 years, writing it, and it's probably going to take like maybe a fourth or fifth year until I have it like fully written, rewritten, and edited the way I wanted that. Because with that book in particular, like, there's a different story element idea I have for that, and then I'm hoping to do a YA Christmas story where it is a Christmas romance and maybe possibly Christmas fantasy, depending on where my time looks and how much time I have for all these projects. That's my goal, is to at least have one or two novels ready within the near future for people to read. And it's a different one of my styles that I want to try out more.
That sounds exciting. A YA Christmas romance and a YA mystery sound full of heart and promise.
Yeah, I really hope so that I can read its potential, but I'm really excited to see where these stories go and see the progress I can make with it.
Where can people find you online, follow your journey?
Yeah, they could follow me on Madi Morton Writes, at Madi Morton Writes, which that's my Instagram account. They could follow me on my Facebook page, which is just called Madi Morton. And then they could find my book on Amazon. They could follow my author page on Amazon to learn more about me. And on my Facebook, I usually keep an author link on there if they want to check out my author page of what I've already written. That from there, they could just click on that and see all the cool opportunities I've had so far. And if anyone wants to do a book signing, they could just reach out to me on one of those, and I'd be happy to see what time of availability I have in my schedule to make that work.
Thank you, Maddie, for your information. I will put your social media handles and the link to your Amazon page in this episode's notes below.
Sounds good.
Is it anything else you want people to know about you?
Well, besides being an author, I also have started a podcast show, which is called The Breakthrough, which I am in the process of trying to make more episodes. And that's about the job hunt market. So besides being an author, I do that in my spare time as well, where the podcast show is there to give people hope when they're looking for a job. And I meet with guest speakers who have already gone through that process. They have all these tips to give to help people who are looking for a job right now to have that hope, that there's hope at the end of the tunnel when they're job searching. Because I know it could be a hard market to go through, is the job market, and that's just on YouTube. It's the third thumbnail down with the little fist breaking the glass is my logo for it.
That's inspiring. Along with being an author, The Breakthrough sounds like a powerful way you're giving people real hope and practical guidance while navigating a tough job market.
Thank you.
Thank you, Maddie, for talking with me on my podcast, Conversations Between Terry Lynn and New Authors on the Rise.
Yeah, of course. Thank you again for having me on the show.
You are welcome, Maddie. Okay, my listeners, tune in next week when I talk with Kevin Creighton and find out who he based the love interest in his book on. Until then, happy reading with your kiddos.